through the Saturday rah, but I look around here, I see excited people.
Where?
Our Hose is not that excited. She's been on air for how long prior to this show starting, Hose Mary?
Couple of hours.
Oh, all right, so you're in red hot form.
Double agent.
Unlike Fat, who's just going.
And I've had enough.
Already?
Yeah.
Already?
Yes.
A minute in.
It's a long show today too, isn't it?
How are you going to go with that? Because you don't normally go well
No.
the 2 hour.
He's got his cordis on, though.
I've got to put them on, so if I just drift off, we shouldn't be all on air together anyway. 4's too many, so one should just drop off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no worries. The razor you didn't quite access on the way in?
No, I'm letting it grow.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there's
You're
a
heading
reason.
down Damo's path.
There's
No,
a
no.
reason.
Hey? There's a reason for it, yes.
What's the reason?
Hello, Damo. Welcome.
Hello, William. What's the reason? I'm intrigued
Yeah,
now.
what is the
Or are you
reason?
trying to grow it
I
out?
just look meaner and
Oh,
tougher.
we're going to get to that in just a second. Bernard, nice to see you.
Hello, Jim. Good to be here.
Hi, Ben.
Crows. What's going on with the Crows, Jim?
Oh.
I
Well,
had
you
to turn
tell
that
us.
off.
4
No.
goals.
us.
That was the
Nah.
worst game to
Come
watch
on, Ben.
last night, Bern.
I actually turned it off. I'd had enough. I went and watched Glenelg play Port Adelaide in the Sandful because
righto.
I couldn't be bothered with the
Jeez.
Crows last
Who won
night.
that?
See?
Glenelg, very good side. Glenelg won the flag last year. Well, I think they might go undefeated if you'd like to know, Bill.
Righto.
Well, I think I might have got my head around why Fat's letting the beard go a touch.
Yeah.
What's
Oh,
hide his face?
Oh, he's got a French fetish.
A
No,
French.
he has. French
What?
fetish. Yep.
What's a fetish?
You've become obsessed with all things French.
Have I?
Yeah. Well, what restaurant do you go to during the week?
A guitar.
Which one?
Bistro.
A bistro guitar.
Did you go there?
Guitar.
I had the,
you have the steak-
escargot. Do you know what that
frites?
is, Bernie?
No.
You don't know what an escargot is?
No, what is
Bern
it?
wouldn't know that.
Oh, where's your knowledge? Where's you? You got to know what escargots
What's
are.
an escargot?
Snails.
Hey?
Fat,
Snails.
you go
Fat.
to a French restaurant.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and,
Expensive.
not on your own.
Oh, no, I had +1 like
Right,
you.
plus
Don't
one.
you talk about
Yeah,
plus
plus
ones,
one.
+1.
So then, after that, where did you head?
Oh, shit. The bedroom? No.
Oh, thankfully you didn't. Where did you go?
I went home.
No, during the week. What
Oh.
other
I went to the circus.
called?
Oh,
It's hard to say. I want you to say it. Damo, can you say
I
it?
don't need to.
just have another try at that.
Just have another go.
You
You
have
were
one more
there.
go and
What's
I'll
it
have a
The
called?
circus, the Big Tent.
Yeah, the
French
very
circus.
famous circus,
French circus.
which is called.
Circo.
Oh,
But it's very, very good. It's out there at Flemington. Magnificent.
Yeah.
It's
Take
co-
the kids along. Very good. Well, how do you say
It's
it?
called Cirque du Soleil. Now, Fat.
No one else can pronounce it.
What for you?
Most can.
I
Yes.
want you to tell us what the most impressive part of it was.
The juggler.
And
Yeah. And the
Jugular.
contortionist.
the contortionist.
Yes. The contortionist is unbelievable. Actually, if you ring in now, if you've been to the circus
we don't-
and you
We're
saw,
not, we're not taking
No.
calls. We're not
Jasper's
allowed
there.
to anymore.
Why?
On this show. We've been banned.
I'll
Now,
get Jay. I'll talk to Jay because you don't
Well,
talk to him.
Apparently, interesting you mentioned that. Interesting you mentioned that because, firstly,
Yes.
you came scooting into the rush hour the next day,
Yes.
Hose, and told us the best part about it was the car park.
Impressive.
Well, it's at Flemington, so there's plenty of car parking, which is important.
It is. You also
don't
were
be-
heard to say to someone in
To
this
Jay.
building
This is-
No,
to
not
Jay,
just somebody,
This is
our
why,
boss.
Our boss,
Jay is
Jay
important.
Mueller.
Jim
Yeah.
wouldn't know this.
that your greatest fear going to Cirque
Yeah.
du Soleil the other night was, quote, getting papped.
Yeah, you're
and
worried
the
about
first
getting
thing you did was run up to Jackie Epstein and said, "Can I get my photo
Can
in the
I,
paper?"
Bernard, I don't know if you can see this.
Now,
Fat's
I didn't
gone-
now I
say.
can see it.
He's gone and walked up to the media wall and said, "Can you take a photo of us?"
and
After you
posed.
feared
Published
being
in the
tapped.
paper.
No.
Posed on the
Fact.
red carpet.
I. Now, can I just talk here? You don't know.
No.
You weren't there. I had to
I
walk
don't need
along.
to be there. I can see it.
It wasn't the red carpet. It was orange, by the way. Orange carpet to get my tickets.
You and Lizzie.
You and Lizzie.
And Lizzie, yes. And Jackie was there. Actually, Jackie wasn't there. I don't know where it was, Jackie. But so I had a little photo, got me tickets, free popcorn and frothy.
So you're concerned about being tapped,
Yeah.
and then you guaranteed that a photo appeared anyway.
You know, I like a photo. It's good
Was
for
that
my
was
image.
that part of the deal? You had to get the photo.
Just because you didn't get invited and you didn't get invited, old +1, and you, old bearded one, didn't get invited, sucked in. Good show, loved it. Take the kids along. Don't
And
you
enjoy
talk
the car park.
Don't you talk about getting papped.
Well, speaking of car parks, I had to let you into the
Oh,
car
yeah.
park this
Oh.
morning,
Today.
Jim.
And Damo?
Where was your pass, by the way? You run
Well,
this joint, but you didn't have your
no,
pass.
My pass is at home,
Right.
and we're just having a little time away, as in down the
Yep.
peninsula for a
You
night.
too, or kids?
No, kids.
So
very
can't you get
nice.
rid of them?
No, they're very welcome.
Jeez.
So
what a
Bird
plus
and Bill
one
and
do?
Hose, I get the call. Come and get me in. So no worries. Go down the stairs, down the lift, out into the car park, and the car park's rumbling. And I'm thinking there must be a semi-trailer parked out the front.
no.
I go out the
Your
front,
car's still
open the
going.
boom gate. That wasn't my car.
Oh.
I opened the boom gate. Waiting for me was Flog.
That's Jim. Yes.
A beautiful, it must be said, a beautiful matte black Mercedes-Benz AMG
Oh, yeah.
G-Wagon.
G-Wagon.
Mate, the
And
G-Wagon.
I've Googled it since I got back upstairs. With all the bells and whistles he's got on it, 550 grand's
How
worth
much
of
are you
machinery.
on,
The,
Jim?
the G63, Bernard. She's the
Oh,
big
yeah.
bi-turbo
Oh,
V8 gangster bus.
Gangster.
Probably a bit more than 550.
How much are you on, Jim?
Not enough.
Oh, bullshit.
That's
pay
the
cash?
answer. To actually you have to work with you, not enough.
Because is this with your deal you've got with Mercedes, which is only 16 minutes from the Westgate Bridge?
In that it is.
Oh, it would be in that. Because you know how he pays
Mercedes-Benz
for it.
Berwick, by the way.
You know how he pays for it.
I don't.
Well, for a bloke that hates the Formula One, right? The Grand Prix.
Oh, right.
Never
Plus
been
one.
there. How long have you been in Melbourne, Jim?
Been there every second year since I've been
No,
here.
no, you've never been there. You hate
Love
it.
it.
Too loud,
Loves it.
traffic.
Got to speak to
Yeah.
people.
Got to talk to people. Thursday night, sit down on dinner. There's Lisa and plus one sitting there, right? And then Sunday, race day. Oh, he's in this big room. He's talking to everyone. They're all coming up to him. And again, Lisa and plus one. Like,
But
you're just...
I'm a man of the people.
No, you're
I'm
not.
a man of the people.
You are not a man
Saying
of the
hello
people.
to people.
No,
No, you're not.
you hate talking to people.
Now, Bill, we've been trying to get him to say something now for the best part of 20 years, to admit some wrongdoing, haven't we?
Right.
We've been trying to get him to say,
This is the other frustrating.
Yeah.
I'd hate to go.
Never
with him.
wrong.
No, never wrong.
Never wrong.
Never his fault.
That is true.
and I think we've got him today.
Oh no.
We've got him.
You won't.
And you're going to have
Yes.
to say, you have to say, I was wrong.
Yes.
You
Now,
won't have.
Just, I'll
Yeah.
quickly set this up.
You won't
on the
have.
rush,
You won't have.
on the rush hour, there's occasional times you need to pre-record an interview, and that's totally understandable. In question, Monday, you needed to speak to Kane Corns. You needed to speak to him in advance of your show because he was going to be on air himself
Yes.
on his own station
That's
at the
right.
time it was going to air. So
Yes.
there's the reason for it being pre-recorded. Bill and I, obviously, you and Bill did the interview. I knew you'd pre-recorded it.
And I knew it was
And then
pre-recorded.
I come on live at 4:10. You knew it was pre-recorded.
Oh, yes, I
we were
did.
trying to tease Kane Corns coming up, and then you
Yes, Jim.
let this fly.
There have been villains in the square circle, the sweet science,
Yeah.
for 100 years.
There has-
And Ali was the best at creating himself as a villain to make sure that the
And
box
you like the
office-
sweet science, though, Dan?
I love the
does.
sweet science.
Yeah.
I'm not sure there's been a fighter ever go into the ring who more people want to see beaten than Kane
Are
Corns.
you going to put that direct question to him
Oh,
when
yeah.
he's in?
Yeah.
And Hutchie's let him in.
Oh, no,
Hutchie's-
the supercar driver, we did talk about that.
He reckoned, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Because I think Brownie went on. I think Brownie.
So the key phrase there, we did talk about that.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's
You
it.
two put your heads together.
No,
and
no,
that's
just
it.
say,
I'm not part of that. one.
just say,
Is as
Just say,
lame
I was-
as
I was
anything
wrong.
you've come at me with.
I
you
was
two.
wrong. Just say
I'll
it.
tell you what we're going to have to do with you. It's a bit like the grade 3 classroom. You can't sit together, you two. We've got to separate. If you come up with that crap,
I haven't heard
and
that
bring
before.
There's a body of work, Jim. There's a body of work.
bring
You're
that
through to
the
a newsreader.
first 15
Hang on.
minutes where we
We've
need
got
to get
more.
our
We got
sharpest.
more. We got
There's
more,
now
Jim.
a body of work of you
more.
being wrong.
Gee,
When
wagon.
you're through to the newsreader, you just forgot what gender it was
better
you were
be
thrown
more.
to.
Building one of the all-time greats, McDonald's and Ream Hot Water. Triple M Rocks Footy Time now. News update with Ann Stone.
Thanks, fellas. Both for
So you're going back 3 years now to try and pick up the crap you started
You
with.
once were broadcasting
I like
a certain sport and thought it was another sport.
Oh,
God,
no.
What the hell are we doing? 23 overs bowled, 4 for 90. Cooper's Mild Ale, best mid-strength beer that tastes like a full strength. Triple M Rocks Footy. Cricket.
Oh,
I can't believe
So
what
just
I
say,
that's-
So
so
you're
yours-
trying to put 3
One
of
more.
the lamest.
One more.
There's one more.
Oh, Rosie got one more.
One more.
Oh, you got
it's the best
confused. You
one.
had a mistaken identity on this one.
I will say this. We did a game up in Brisbane with Melbourne earlier this year, BT. And
Oh, you're right.
so he's fat. What are you talking about? So I'm not wrong there either.
So we just
not wrong
want
in any of them.
No, Jim.
the great Fonzie
Yes.
nearly went down this path, Jim, and we just need you to follow through.
You've had to go back. You've had to go back that far that it's actually it's a bit like
Just
tell you
do
what
it,
is,
Jim.
Purple. It's a bit like tax. Once you go further enough out, you don't have to pay it.
No, 7 years, Jim. 7 years.
Now,
He's not going to...
you're not going to start again. On this day, I've got a document in
The
front of me,
30th of March.
and I'd be listening in if I were you, Bernard.
Yep.
On this day, fateful day last year, Nick Haslam
Who's he?
Oh, no.
Yes.
No.
Who is Nick Haslam?
came into the Adelaide rush hour. This is a man that runs Live Golf.
Yep.
This is, I'm
Bernie, sure.
He
cancelling
came
for
in
this.
to the Adelaide rush hour this day last year, and
Easter Saturday.
Bern
Please, no.
asked the single worst question
no.
ever heard on commercial radio.
You don't need
Did
to
you
play.
ever, did you in your wildest dreams ever think that this would happen? Like the people here, the crowd, everything. Even yesterday was so good. We were part of that. But just before we came here, I watched the footage for a bit, and they said the commentators were saying we have not seen this in Live Golf. Well, I know the history doesn't go back far, but they have not seen this in Live Golf. Did you think you would be the best outing that they've had?
So,
I've nearly just got over that with all those therapy sessions I've been
rehab.
having, and now it's back.
so this is what we've found out since.
What have you found out?
Nick Haslam has wiped the Adelaide rush hour. He refuses to go on. They've said repeatedly, Nick, can you come
you
back?
come
We
in?
want to pump up Liv.
It's,
He goes,
it's next
"Mate,
weekend, isn't
it's
it?
sold out anyway. We don't need your help, and I'm not submitting myself to any questions like that again.
He said,
ever.
"Is that Vince bloke still there?" They said, "Yes." Well, I'm not coming
Fine.
in.
Be fine.
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 Hey, did you go for dinner during the week, Bernie, over there in Adelaide?
Might have, yeah.
Who with?
The Texan.
Oh, the Texan. You and Texan. Nice.
Wednesday night, yeah.
How'd it go? Nice dinner?
Where'd you go, Bern?
Good dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where are you
And-
going with this?
Well, what happened when you went to pay the bill?
Well, that's there's a story to that.
Oh, no. You took off and left the bill to Tex. You did the runner and made Tex pay the bill.
I needed to go to the toilet.
That one. You tried that one.
And when I came out,
Yeah.
I was like, so where do you pay? Where do you go to pay? And, I got it, Coco. That's what I said. I got it. And he paid, but it was his turn. We take turns, Bill. That's
did
what
the
happens.
runner. Tight ass.
Yeah. You actually try that one, Bill. It worked. Go to the toilet.
Toilet.
And get not to go to pay the bill.
Oh, we're off to a very nice
Yes.
start. Melbourne, the Richard Marsden Studios here. Damo's got a cup of tea. What are you drinking?
A black tea, Jim.
What's
I like my
wrong
black
with you?
tea.
What is wrong with you? You've become an old man in front of our eyes.
You have.
I've had
you
black
dunking a
tea
biscuit
since
into
I
it?
was about, I reckon, 9 years of age.
You're better than
regularly.
that, Purple.
What?
I think you got more sizzle than that.
Have a frothy
Well, the
like
coffee
us.
machine's down. I would have had a black coffee if I could have had access
Well,
to
Bill
that.
had one, but he spilled half of it
Yeah, I
over
did.
the
I saw him
desk
do that
while
in the
Harry
next-
was on.
I don't know how that happened.
We're in disarray here, but I think it's time to straighten up with this.
I told you, homeboy. I won Nuff of the year. How do I win that?
You're unbelievable.
It's,
Unbelievable. Inks.
Knock could have given it a bit.
That's what you call a nuff.
Stevie.
I had a bit of time on Sunday last week over in Melbourne, boys. I went for a bit of a run. This white Prado pulls over next to me. Vince, you there? Who's that? It was Jordan Lewis.
Yeah.
You keep putting me in that shit. And I was like,
Maybe that's his technique. Even when he is 50 metres out. Could have given it a bit more.
he said you ever put me in that shit again. And I went, anyway, we've done it, Rose. So just don't go for a run. That's what you said.
No
right.
danger.
I'm going to remember that.
Bill?
Yes.
Don't
No
go
running.
for a run.
No running.
Because you could get anything out there. Hey, let's start with you, Bill, because last week you had a bit of a bad day.
Which day? Which day would that be?
Shock me.
The one that ended in
Tuesday,
Y.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. No, this one was actually Saturday with us, and well, this is what you started with.
What have you been doing?
You got asked, what are you doing? And what did you say?
It just doesn't come out. So I don't know what happens. But anyway, move on.
You'd been to the
What were you
bike.
trying to say?
I don't know.
And then you were trying to be clever because you know the answer to the Hotspurs question.
I
So
do.
you tried
That's
to
right.
ask someone, but the key is to say Hotspurs first.
got a question for you.
Oh, dear.
Tottenham Hotspurs.
Boys. Hotspurs. We all knew what it meant.
And why are they called the Hotspurs?
Because Harry Hotspur founded the club back in 1842.
Yes.
Hotspurs.
I wouldn't check that. I'd check that date.
That was said with a lot of conviction.
On the maths on that, I was thinking, okay.
He was nodding too much. He was too confident there. Hey, Craig McRae, been through a little bit. Had a good win, obviously, on Thursday night, but not sure this is why they're winning.
And there was a great preparation for it. It happened pre-game. And that stuff is not going to change. Because at the end of the day, if you have too much cheese on your lasagna, it doesn't matter. Okay, it won't affect the result. It doesn't. The kitchen dirty or the cheese on the lasagna, that doesn't matter.
What's he going on
I have
about?
no idea what he was on about there.
Got no idea.
I'm a huge fan of Craig McRae. I don't know what the hell he was
Well, that's
trying
what he
to
was
say.
saying about take the steps last year, but cheese on the lasagna.
The cheese on the lasagna is not why you're going to lose. No. But the kitchen's dirty and the cheese is...
Doesn't
I
matter.
don't know. I think he just got really lost. Das, well, he's been trying to come up with a few sayings, Das, but what he's doing at the moment, he's combining two or three together, and you see what he's done here, Damo.
Langford cleverly used the body. He's got to think his way through it. That was well done to Jake Stringer, who should be able to finish from there and does. So the Bombers just still keep the door alive, back to 18 points. The door ajar, I should say.
Keep that door alive. I've never met a door that's alive, but anyway. Jono, now here's another one that can be a bit threatening, but I'm going to keep him in there.
Careful.
I just haven't seen him this season, so I've got a bit of confidence up. When I do see him, may need to change the jocks. If in doubt, Jono, get out. And he did it.
Got it to Warple. Sends a high wobbling ball to the 50, but Petty wins the day against Chol.
Yeah, the reason for that, because Chol was worried about Perry, his opponent, and wasn't able to... I'll leave it there.
Well done. Get out.
If in doubt, get out.
That's Bill's view.
Yes,
Just stop.
Stop.
Doesn't matter where you are, just stop.
Bail.
I quite enjoyed that.
Like Boom with the
And-
golf question.
No, that was just an example of what not to do. Like, all the kids listen to that now, so they're going to be better for that. Hey, Embers, we need to go over head west.
over to Perth.
He's stuttering again.
No, no.
I like the way the West Coast are taking the game on. They will make a few mistakes on the way through, but keep attacking these goals. They deserve one here.
He did a Treaders.
I'll play it again because it was a little bit
He should have got out.
unclear.
They deserve one here.
Which reminded us, Hose, when we're listening to this.
West Coast at the moment are going through unprecedented times.
This is another man that will club you if he gets access.
No,
Rosie's got all these on autopilot.
Yeah.
too.
Australian.
Hotkeys. Evil.
Got the snipers crosshairs hose, and she can aim them anywhere.
Yes.
And loads us all up.
sometimes I don't say press the button, she just presses it. Nath Brownie. Nath Brown.
He'll club you.
Queen's English. Well, I don't
Queen's
think he will.
English.
Queen's English, not his strength.
He had an open 50, Nick Larkey. He was running back the square, but then pointed. He wanted the short kick from Zerha, and Wiedering covered him.
Thought he leaded too late back up at the footy then, Chief. He leaded.
Been boxing too long.
Leaded
Boxing too.
And Chief will not let you get away.
didn't he?
He will point out any error.
Nah, absolutely loved it. And then Brownie tried to get funny. Don't try this, Jim, when you're calling.
Still arguing with the umpire. He's about to come off the ground. I felt like he was a bit unlucky on that occasion.
Not bad.
I didn't mind that.
Yeah,
Thanks,
you
all right.
like it?
I didn't mind it.
I didn't like it.
It's your segment. You can do what you want.
Barry
Oh, the
Dennett. now,
Peoples.
He rocked up to Ballarat. He's signing autographs and getting photos.
Peoples.
I think he was telling people who he was. But if you're going to do that, you got to perform. And well, he just called it terribly.
Miller got in the way, but he's tackled, spilled to Daniels. Caleb Dangles. Daniels kicks inside forward 50.
Dangle.
Caleb Dangles.
People's coming, Peoples. Maybe less autographs, more calling people's names.
He's almost untouchable, people.
Yeah, he is.
And we love him. And hello, the Peoples, if he's listening. He'll probably be driving down today to call the game. Hit it, please, host.
Nuff of the week.
Don't like going down the path of this too much, but it needs to be called out. I got it sent to me on social media a few times, and I had to listen back very carefully. Now, this is Robbo on 360. Tell me what you hear, Bill.
The problem goes back to the players taking drugs on a Tuesday or a Wednesday before a game of football and say, hey, help me, can you? I think I've got it in my system. I had a big night last night. I think I've got it in my system. Oh, yeah, you don't play this week. You know, the greater cohort of the players should say to those players, those who are taking the mickey out of the system.
What? Someone horse and carted. Someone horse and carted.
Here it is again.
Jared.
Just in case.
Oh,
no, Jared.
That can't be easing one out live on air.
Wouldn't be Robbo. It must be.
A lot of people. Why couldn't it be Robbo, Bill?
No. That's a significant one.
Significant. Which I thought, well, I'll just go
Is
back.
that in the actual?
Was it on 360?
We haven't put it in.
That must be someone in the sound booth.
No.
Someone in the mixing desk.
No sound booth.
Can I hear it again?
Microphone and giving it up. There we are.
That's a good one
Not
too.
the boys on air.
Look, it happens.
That can't
It's
be.
a camera.
That's on air.
No, yeah, but it can't be the boys because the Frank Thring's nowhere near the microphone. That's
he
got to
might
be
have
some
fallen
back room
down.
operator.
Well,
You reckon the director's up there?
shot up.
I'm not sure.
But it's happened before. Adam Simpson, he noticed it.
So proud of the group. Someone farted just then at the back. Who was that?
You can't do that.
What is happening?
That was in I think it was a club launch, season launch or something. He was at the front. Mick Malloy, of course he has.
Did he try to pull out, Ed? The first thing he said this morning is, I'm not running.
That was a burp.
No one's surprised Mick's dropping his guts.
I think that was
Disgusting.
Was that you? Were you in the studio, host?
No. That was at another radio station.
Oh, right.
When Hughesy was somewhere else.
I see.
Righto.
Okay.
And commentary box aren't great because it can't escape.
Something's just sort of wafted from the rear of the box, hasn't
Someone stepped on a duck, Howie.
it? Okay, that's a bit unfortunate. We just might need to open a few windows in the box. It's rather pungent at the moment.
Someone in this room is on protein, and it's unlikely to be me.
It's the Werribee duck.
Oh, boy. Goodness gracious me. The duck has relieved.
What the hell? Remember the Foss if someone did it.
I walked out.
He
They just walked out.
Fair enough.
Just straight out.
Yep, he wouldn't tolerate
Well,
it.
sometimes it's hard to keep it in, don't
You can keep it in. You can.
Why not follow through?
You go into
No.
the production booth over
Yeah, I
there
do.
and lock it
Where
while
Maddie's
Maddie's
where
working.
you go. Have you got more examples, Sabino?
I got one more.
Righto.
A Ross reaction.
They've ramped
Oh,
up
no,
their
not
pressure.
that one, sorry.
Sicily gets the fist to get the ball out of bounds. Someone own up. Boundary throw in. 8-4, 52. You're going to own it, don't you, Ross?
Not guilty. Not guilty. This game's going to stink about.
Maybe it's the crows.
Oh, you got to
Why
love
do we
Ross.
laugh at that?
Oh,
You
Silly
ripped one
kids.
out in the next studio last year.
Did I?
Remember
When
that,
Emma
host?
Friedman was doing it across from Sydney. She could smell it.
It just worked its way across the desk.
The video is so
So Rabs picked it up first, and I'm looking at Rabs going, what are you doing? And then suddenly I copped it. Bang! The septum in the middle of my nose melted down.
I didn't realise it smelt.
So are we enough for the week?
Is that it?
Barry Denner just text. I needed a clip. I needed that. So that's making it better. So there we go. We love you.
What's going on? And there's been a bit kicking around.
A few issues that
Well,
we
it
need to
has.
delve into. Yeah.
Can I ask you first, Damo?
can, Bill.
Because I was at the Bot Thursday night and a well-heeled gentleman said to me, bit of trouble at Brisbane Lions, Bill. So I forgot, actually, and I was going to ask you about it. And then I read today in the paper, the Herald Sun, that there's a bit of trouble there with a WhatsApp group, and they went on holidays to Vegas.
It was Sam McClure went with this first, Bill, and there is truth to what is being reported, and it is a situation that we need to work out from a footy perspective. Is it affecting the 0-3 start? So that's one part of it. But what has happened, for those who are catching up with the story, there was a travel party to Vegas in the off-season.
10 players?
10 players or so. I think most of those 10 were footballers, and there was a communication set up about it, and the communications were filtered back to a device that was still connected in Brisbane. And as such, it has affected relationships.
It was still in the cloud, which actually went back to one of the partners, and all the boys were talking on WhatsApp. And it got out.
Now, we're not going to go into the specific behaviours because these things do happen. But it has clearly hit the club. It's clearly hit the playing group. It's hit the partners of the playing group, and as to what extent it is and how deep it runs and what long-lasting effect it does have. When a team that comes off a grand final losing it by 4 points starts the next season with 0-3, you, Jim, more than anyone knows, and you constantly say, if you're going to win a flag, you need everything to go right, at least the things that you can control. And here's one right now that the Brisbane Lions are facing that is under their control effectively, and it's not ideal.
Well, I have a view, Bernard, that AFL footballers are adults and therefore are able to conduct themselves, especially post-season, in any way they see fit because their life is their own unless it's Las Vegas.
Right.
If you're a footy club, you can say to your 44 players,
anywhere else?
You can go to Italy, you can go to France, you can go to Bali, you can go. But if I hear that any of you are wandering near Vegas, then you'll have an issue because every time anyone goes there, something like this happens. Am I wrong?
Well, not every time.
Well,
actually,
I'm talking about
I know what
athletes.
you're saying.
I'm talking about athletes.
Yeah.
It's just a no-go zone.
Did anything come out of the rugby league, by the way? I don't think it did. And they had 2 games there.
Yeah, well, I was expecting that to be the case when they had their opening round over there. The other issue, obviously, is the revelations through federal parliament this week by the MP Andrew Wilkie, who revealed under parliamentary privilege issues with the illicit drugs policy under the AFL system. They're effectively issues that a lot of people in the game have known. Now, I know coaches still in the coaching position this week have acted as though they don't know this goes on. I refer to what Nathan Buckley said, who is now no longer a coach, knowingly being told by his club doctor that 2 players who'd completed a training session suddenly had hamstring complaints and were forced to miss a game of footy. So I raise that. This has been a secrecy policy. You and I have had debates about it, Jim, over 20 years of the policy. I don't always and have not liked the secrecy of it, but I have got my head around the medical model of it over the journey.
Model.
I was late to the party on that. I acknowledge that part of it. But it's not a good look now when other codes are now commenting on it. And I think the messaging has been lost almost from day one from the AFL's perspective that there are 2 policies, one being the illicit drugs policy, which they run, and then the WADA-controlled Sports Integrity Australia performance enhancing.
Yeah, so that article that was written quoting every other code, they don't volunteer their players for illicit drug testing during the week. So therefore, that their comments are completely irrelevant for me. I know why the newspaper's trying to keep the story going, but when you actually read the content of that article and say, righto, let's hear from rugby union, let's hear from... Irrelevant, because you don't do the same thing.
No.
This is a voluntary process that AFL players submit themselves to.
And another aspect of it, and again, this has been lost, but there's nothing stopping Sports Integrity Australia to test the players that are being quarantined from the illicit drugs policy system. And I say quarantine because it was initially Byrne and Bill set up as a 3-strike policy. We know there was never a 3rd strike under the AFL system. Travis Tuck was the outrider on that when the police got involved on the 3rd strike. They then reduced it to 2 strikes. There has not been one person named publicly on the back of the 2. They take them out of the randomness of the system once there's a detection of the drug. And again, I've got an issue with that. I understand why people at footy clubs hold dear to the medical element and the welfare element to it. But it has caused confusion. The public messaging and the PR battle around it has been lost, and I think it's been lost forevermore.
It's 20 years old, by the way, isn't it? It needs
Well, it's set up when the West Coast Eagles players were doing what they were doing back in the early 2000s.
So, Purple, let me ask you some questions, because you and I have been discussing this during the week, and I said to you, for me, this story's got hair growing out of nearly every follicle of it.
Ooh.
How does an independent Tasmanian MP who wouldn't know a Sharon if it hit him in the head, suddenly end up with this comprehensively compiled story about the AFL drug policy?
Well,
how does that happen?
There's an article in The Age today which attempts to give some clarity to that, and there's an advisor attached to the MP, Andrew Wilkie, who was across the situation at the Melbourne Football Club, that relating to Glenn Bartlett and the club doctor there, who has already established a form of disgruntlement with what happened there. Now, that's been played out publicly. Effectively, they are documents from the club doctor who have found their way to, as you say, Jim, the MP, and he, using parliamentary privilege on the Tuesday night of this week, went with it, and then, the AFL had no line of sight on it. And again, there's no issue with how that's played out in terms of the laws and the courts and the parliaments of the land.
But it's unusual that a footy story gets broken by an MP using parliamentary privilege, and while no one can cross-examine, even ask any questions, cross-reference.
And
we haven't seen this before.
And
this is a new way of doing it.
From what I've been told too, the call did get into the AFL about a minute after Andrew Wilkie finished his speech.
So the other bit I want to ask you is how does...
There's nothing wrong with that. That's, in some people's eyes, Jim, good journalism.
How does an AFL doctor, post getting sacked, claim to have an issue with what he was asked to do? Why didn't he resign at the time if he had a problem with what the code was asking him to do with players?
I'd like to ask that same question of the said doctor myself. Yeah. And again, he's got a context to it now, and there's a creation of awareness around what he felt was a cultural / behavioural issue at the time.
All right. If you're worried about that, resign. Well, don't wait and get sacked and then crack it and then come out afterwards saying you had an issue.
No, look, I would like to ask that question of him myself. I'm with you on that. But in his defence, and what he will say, and I'm not here to defend him, but he will say, well, I did raise it with the club at the time.
All right, and if you didn't get the answer, now this is not on you, obviously, but if you didn't get the answers you wanted when you raised it, resign. I mean, that's what you've got in front of you as an employee. If you don't like what's happening, you say, right, I'm not comfortable with what I'm being asked to do here, I'm out. But he didn't. I don't know how you can come out now and say you weren't comfortable.
No, I know. But he has raised issues which are being addressed behind the scenes in a legal sense, and now they're being addressed through the parliament of the nation, and they are an AFL problem right now.
I don't always see eye to eye with our Prime Minister, as you know.
Elbow.
But Elbow's response for me was the most sensible thing that was said about an otherwise farcically put together scenario.
Paraphrase it, please.
Well, he said, I've got enough to do as the Prime Minister of this country.
The AFL can run the AFL.
The AFL's drug policy is up to them to concern themselves with, because old mate Wilkie, I think the Prime Minister should be looking into this.
And the other way to look at it potentially, if the quarantining of these players away from the being playing bill and therefore away from the drug testing by Sports Integrity Australia, if you go down that path, okay, I can understand that argument, but then you do subject yourselves to the Joel Smith situation where he is now facing up to 4 years out of the system because he was caught on match day with substances in his system. So,
well, that's what I said, Purple, to a bloke who rang me, and he was up and about it all. And he said, it's a disgrace, and these footballers are taking the piss, and I've had enough, and this is crap. And, he was just ranting. Now, to be fair to him, he wasn't, didn't have line of sight on the detail. He wasn't a football person. He was just a follower. And I said to him, Bernard, I said, you've got a young bloke. He goes, yep. I said, tell me what you'd prefer. Would you prefer if the young bloke did what a ridiculous number of young people do these days and go down the illicit drug path? Would you prefer when the club doctor found out that he then pulled your kid aside and said, righto, let's make sure that your welfare is protected and we try and get you rehabilitated and understanding how you've got to behave, all the rest? I said to him, would you prefer that? Or would you prefer the doctor say nothing, he get tested on match day, then he is on the front page of the Herald Sun and he's out for 4 years? I said, which of those two for your son would you prefer? He goes, well, I guess when you put it like that, I'd prefer the doctor to look after him. I said, of course you would. That's what club doctors do. So whether you agree with the policy, that's what it is. And I think it's there to protect young men and help them through.
What percentage do you reckon?
Well, Bill, the 100 number that was published in News Limited subsequent to the initial stories.
100 out of 800, is that right?
It's not. No, it's not right.
No,
and the AFL has told the clubs the day after. They didn't. They chose not to shoot it down in the morning, but they told the clubs that afternoon. It's grossly exaggerated.
Yes, I would have thought.
The clubs that heard that felt that it was between 10 and 20. So obviously the truth, as always, is somewhere in the middle. But it's
80,
not
80 players out of the 800.
But
What about
again,
the
they're saying it's grossly exaggerated.
720 that are doing the right thing. See, that's what.
But some are exempt as well from the testing, aren't they, Damo?
Or 780. Well, not under the way it's been described, Bill. I mean, they're exempt, Bern. They're exempt the moment there is a detection. There's not ever a two-strike component to it where that player will be named for taking drugs. So there will be a second strike. It's just not considered a breach and therefore a ban with the word drugs next to it. And that's why when people talk about there being a punitive outcome to the next review, which is now going to be in place by the start of 2025, there will not be a naming of a player, drugs. There is no chance that the players will sign off on
All
that.
right, is there any chance that Patrick Dangerfield and Paul Marsh, in charge of the AFLPA, if this gets nasty enough, if they turn around and go, all right, we won't submit ourselves to it? With the voluntary agreement that we can be tested, we're now taking away.
Yeah.
Is there any chance that can happen?
Well, they will argue, and I've spoken to both those individuals, as you have, Jim, they will argue that the benefits that have been gleaned by players who are affected by this space outweigh even this week's negative publicity.
And I would agree with that.
Yeah. And look, I'm not going to name names. You're not going to name names. But we know players who have benefited from the medical model of it. And again, I'm happy to put my hand up. I was slow to embrace that aspect of it. I still don't buy every component of that being the overriding arch to the policy, but I do get it.